back to Drexel Update here on Inside Ambition. I'm Emily McAndrews. Today, I'm going to be talking with Jillian Saunders, the president of Drexel Engineers Without Borders. Hi, Jillian, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. All right, so why don't you start off by telling us a little bit about who you are?
Yeah, so my name is Jillian. I'm currently in my fourth out of fifth year at Drexel. I study biomedical engineering in the BSMS program here. And as you mentioned, I'm the president of Drexel EWB, or Engineers Without Borders.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Engineers Without Borders does?
Yeah, so Engineers Without Borders is an organization dedicated towards using our engineering skills that we're learning in classes for humanitarian projects such as bringing clean water to communities that need it, building structures such as schools and bathrooms, and really giving back to the world through our engineering. So Drexel EWB is a part of a larger parent organization called EWB USA, which has lots of different chapters, both collegiate and professional, all across the country. And these projects together work in I think there's around 14,000 members now across the country. And I want to say there's projects in over 30 countries. That stat might be a little outdated, but they have lots of projects all over the world working in various fields of engineering, such as water, sanitation, structure, and a few others.
Wow, truly a quite a global initiative. So I love to see it. It's really great. So what are some recent things that you guys have done here on campus or in the local community?
Yeah, so Drexel EWB, our chapter specifically focuses mostly our international projects on water quality and water quantity projects. And then we also have a few domestic projects in West Philadelphia in order to give back to a space that we do kind of take as Drexel. And those projects often are for fighting food insecurity because, as most Drexel students know, we live in somewhat of a food desert, especially when you branch further into Mantua. So some current things we've been working on, I'd say over the last year, is we closed out one of our projects in El Salvador, which was really exciting. That's a project we've had since 2013. That was just it had lots of ups and downs and bumps, which is something you learn as you work with so many different people, such as community partners and non-government organizations, and then of course EWB. So we finally closed that out, and that was a well project for a community of around 20, 25 households to bring them clean water. And now what we're doing is in 2018, we adopted a new project in Ecuador in a community called San Luis de Yacupango. And we're currently planning our first remote implementation for them, which would have been in person in September 2020 had the pandemic not happened. But we're planning to do our first implementation there remotely by laying down a new pipe system to help provide more sufficient quantities of water. Um, and then some things we're doing in domestic, which is all of our West Philly projects, is looking into building more irrigation systems and planting beds in local urban gardens.
That's great. You guys certainly do a lot of work.
Yeah.
What is probably the most challenging part of it? You talked a little bit about having to deal with, the local communities and the government and things, but what are some of the biggest problems that you guys run into on your projects?
Mhm. I think one of the big ones is there's two main ones. One is the change of students at Drexel. So as especially on that our El Salvador project, because we had that for so long, it went through so many different phases of members at Drexel EWB that a lot just got lost in all of those people coming in and out. We're doing a lot better. We learned from those mistakes, and in our Ecuador project, we're documenting absolutely everything. We have documentary style videos from our trips, so many meeting minutes, just to make sure that the people who come after us don't have to struggle in the same way some of us did for the other project. Another thing is that sometimes there's a lack of communication between the different parties involved. So in typical EWB projects, you have your chapter from EWB, which in our case is us, and then you'll have the community you work with, and then NGO. So for us, our NGO is someone we're trying to push more communication with. And we got lucky that our community is very involved and very eager about our project in Ecuador right now. So we talk with them biweekly, and that's a great way to keep updated, especially why we can't be traveling. Um, and that's something we're trying to just enforce more with our NGO as well. But because they manage so many projects in country, they can just be a bit more busy. So the biggest thing is just keeping making sure that all parties are involved in the conversation to make sure everyone's on the same page for what's best for the community.
Gotcha. Totally makes sense. Now, flip it, what do you think are some of the best parts of EWB and a lot of the work that you guys have done?
Again, I think there's two answers. One is more on the global scale, is getting to work with all of these different communities. And even locally, we have some really great partners in West Philly who we've been working with for so long, just going back and doing more and more with them and their gardens and farms. But I think the best part is building this community and seeing that, like, despite our differences of us being somewhat random students in Philadelphia, getting to go and work with our communities abroad and other ones locally, and really building this connection, having the same goal. It's like a really special feeling. I was a part of our first assessment trip to Ecuador, and our community, the very first day we got there, did this beautiful traditional dance and made us a traditional meal as like a big welcoming ceremony. And I think that is like one of the most special experiences I've ever had, because then they invited us into this dance, and it was just like you feel the bridging of the two worlds, that it's like despite us being here kind of to do like a water project, they really welcomed us in to be a part of their community and made sure that we were comfortable and that we built these bonds with them. And I think that's like one of the best parts of EWB, is that at the end of the day, we're all coming together for this common goal, and that's something you don't always see. Um, Another great part is more of the student side, is it gives us a place to use what we're learning in classes for a real world problem, which is something you don't always get in your class. I know like a lot of times our examples are so arbitrary, especially in engineering, because they want to make sure you're learning from it. But this is a way to really test your knowledge and go above and beyond what you do in the classroom.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like having another co-op or something, getting another exactly hands-on experience. So that's really great. So when you do go international, when you are working on these international projects, how long do you typically go on these trips, like each student?
Yeah, so as we all know, Drexel doesn't have breaks. We have like a week, maybe every now and then. So our project itself, the typical model is it's a 5-year project. So it's not like a one in and one out type of thing. They are long-term projects to really make sure that the change there is going to be something that's lasting. Um, when we travel though, because of our schedule with Drexel, it's typically for like 7 to 10 days, which isn't ideal. A lot of other chapters who have like summers off or a professional will go for anywhere from like 2 to 3 weeks. But because of that, that's a factor we consider in our projects. So we don't take projects that are too far away. We like to keep them within like a 10-hour flight, because otherwise you're just going to spend a lot of the time traveling, which isn't what's best for the community. But yeah, when we're there, it's typically like a 7 to 10 day trip, but these projects last a lot longer than just that one week.
Well, for anyone who's interested in Engineers Without Borders here on campus, how can people get involved?
Yeah, it's super easy, and we're open for all majors. A lot of people on our board actually are not engineers. Like, we want all majors to be there, especially if you speak Spanish. Public health is really great. Social justice is really great. It's really about anyone who wants to use their classroom skills on a greater project coming together to do so. So if you want to get more involved, we're always looking for new members and welcoming people of all different majors. Again, you don't have to be an engineer, but you could join us on Dragon Link at Engineers Without Borders. It might be like Common Drexel chapter or just Drexel Engineers Without Borders. Also, our website is drexelewb.com, and that's where you can find all of our contact information to join.
Great. Well, Jillian, thank you so much for being on the show today. It was really great talking with you.
Thank you so much. It was so great to get to talking about EWB.
Thanks for watching Drexel Update. Make sure that you like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can also follow us on Instagram at inside_ambition and on Twitter and TikTok at inside ambition. See you next time.